Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to...
Are the courts interfering in European politics?
Since US Vice President J.D. Vance warned delegates at the Munich Security Conference in February about alleged infringements of democracy and free speech in Europe, there's been heightened attention on the role of the courts in European politics. This week, judges in France convicted far-right presidential frontrunner Marine Le Pen of embezzling EU funds, giving her an immediate 5-year ban on standing for office. With some Le Pen...
That's it?
I know, right? First of all, that's it, yes. But why is it interfering if she committed a crime and got punished for it? But the courts are just supposed to let her be? Like, I don't understand.
Allies comparing this to the exclusion by Romanian authorities of far-right candidate Călin Georgescu from the rerun of the 2024 election next month. Whatever side of the debate you're on, it's clear the relationship between governments and judiciaries is becoming a more difficult question across Europe and the West. So in this video, we'll explain the Le Pen and Georgescu cases, the idea of lawfare, and whether it's on the rise. We asked the TLDR the next copy of Arm in France and Romania. Last week, France's leading presidential candidate, Marine Le Pen, was convicted of embezzling 4.4 million euros of EU Parliament funds earmarked for staff in Brussels who were actually working for her French political party, the National Rally. The court banned her from standing for public office for 5 years, giving her a 4-year prison sentence, of which 2 years are suspended, and a €100,000 fine.
Suspended, I guess, means parole here in the States, I would guess?
I don't know.
Because I don't know what suspended means, but my initial guess would be like a parole. She's like on house arrest or something. But so...
She's gonna go to jail?
Well, embezzling. She embezzled.
Oh.
She's... I ain't gonna lie though, for embezzling, this is a slap on the wrist. I'm sorry, that's slap on the wrist.
Fine. However, the court's decision to ban Le Pen from public office was criticised.
Also, I guess it depends whose money it was. If it was like bribery or whatever, okay, fine, that's fair. But if it was public funds, you literally taking from the people. That's different.
By her allies. Jordan Bardella, the National Rally's president, said that French democracy is being executed. Putin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said more and more European capitals are going down the path of trampling democratic norms. And Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban simply posted on X, "Je suis Marine." Others, namely Italian
I am Marine?
I'm not her.
Did he just admitted that he's also embezzling money? Because that would sound
I'm not
like...
with her, She going by herself. I'm not going.
I am so confused. I think he don't know what he wrote. Because he just admitted basically to embezzling in that tweet. What?
Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini drew comparisons between Le Pen's situation and that of Romania's far-right presidential candidate Călin Georgescu, who was barred by the country's constitutional court from standing again in the rerun of the 2024 presidential election in May.
I guess the argument for interfering comes the fact that she got a 5-year ban, which is not a big deal at all. That's only 5 years. If she's serving 4, that's only a year after you got out. That's nothing. Like, so I think the fact that's the intervening part, is that, oh, you barring her. Honestly, in my opinion, it should be banned for life, not for 5 years. Like, if you're if you're a doctor, a lawyer, you do something fucked up, you lose your license for life. You banned for life. Why is this for 5 years? And that's, if anything, courts are not doing enough to... I understand if she, like, it's fucking embezzling, bribery. Come on, what?
And that's what you know. Could be more.
Exactly. That's what you know. What is that went under the rug, swept under the rug, that we don't know about?
And ties to extremist groups. These events have led to accusations of political bias against Europe's courts, with Le Pen and Georgescu claiming the rulings against them were politically motivated. In other words, the political establishment was using what's sometimes known as lawfare to undermine democracy. In fact, Le Pen even echoed Donald Trump's rhetoric after losing the 2020 election, saying, "We will not allow the French people to have the presidential election stolen from them." So, do Le Pen and co have a point? Is lawfare, i.e. the use of the judiciary by governments for political purposes, actually an issue for European democracies? Well, Le Pen's argument seems to be that the court banned her from standing for election because she was the frontrunner for the 2027 French presidential election.
So she's complaining that, okay, she's saying like everyone was speeding, but why you only pull me over?
That's not even what she's saying. She's saying the only reason they convicted her because she's the front runner, not because she's guilty, not because she embezzled, because she's the front runner. That's how I understand it. That don't make no sense. If you embezzled, Unless now, if the evidence was circumstantial, I guess we would have to dive into the case more. I don't know if the evidence is circumstantial and like okay, but right now I'm taking it for a fact that she embezzled because she was convicted. And if you're convicted of a crime, why is that a big deal to get 5 years of non-compete? I don't know.
Or in her words, because we're on the verge of winning power. Le Pen is claiming that France's political establishment, led by Macron, just wanted to block her from running because they felt threatened. It's true that in other countries recently, we have seen these dynamics. In Turkey, for instance, it's become clear to the international press that Turkish President Erdogan has jailed his main rival, Ekrem İmamoğlu, on spurious
That's a
charges
bullshit
including
charge.
corruption, extortion, bribery, money laundering, and supporting terrorism, to prevent him from challenging Erdogan at the next Turkish presidential election in 2028. But Le Pen was convicted with evidence of embezzling more than €4 million of EU funds, and there's no suspicion it was directed by Macron. It's a similar story with Georgescu. While it's true that he was performing well in the polls, it's also hard to deny that he broke campaign financing laws.
Romanian court upholds measures against presidential frontrunner and probe. Oh, it doesn't say what he did.
Laws. Even if you don't agree with the other charges against him, he claimed to have spent nothing during the election, which is hard to square with a massive pro-Georgescu campaign we saw on TikTok and other social media. Le Pen also argued, like other convicted politicians have, that the court's ruling against her was political. This is the same line we've heard from figures like Donald Trump, who called his indictment a witch hunt, jailed English far-right activist Tommy Robinson, and former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, who's currently on trial for an alleged coup plot, and actually compared his own trial to Le Pen's last week, saying, here and in France, this is pure lawfare. The left has found an easy way to perpetuate itself in power by using judicial activism.
But why is it always the right people on the right side that are getting in these troubles?
But Le Pen is far from the only French politician in recent years to be convicted by the courts. Two of France's former centre-right presidents, Nicolas Sarkozy and Jacques Chirac, were both convicted of corruption after their terms. And 5 of the last 6 centre-right French prime ministers before Macron have faced criminal charges.
The fuck is going on in France?
Okay, this is common practice.
I guess that's just normal at this point. That's why she's bothered. She's bothered because it's normal. So your example goes. Everybody's speeding. She got caught. That's why she's upset. What?
Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the leader of the far-left La France Insoumise
That's
party,
crazy.
has also been...
And I'm not saying people don't do that. I don't know. I'm not into those circles. Maybe in every country this is common practice. In every country, every politician does that. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not there, but they don't get caught at least. Cover your shit up better.
investigation since 2017 for a fake job scandal in the European Parliament, similar to Le Pen's, and could soon face legal action. This all cuts against Le Pen's implicit claim that France's judiciary treats some politicians, namely those on the right, more harshly than others. Now, you might argue that, in a way, all these court rulings against politicians are political. After all, it's politicians themselves who make and amend the law, and judges and juries can't help but be influenced by the news. But again, it's hard to argue that the laws under which Le Pen and Georgescu have been sentenced, one banning embezzlement of EU funds, the other requiring transparent campaign finances.
Oh, she embezzled EU funds. She pocketed some of the EU funds that should have gone to the country. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
That's real bad.
That's
reasonable.
It's basically taken from the people. Not like directly from the people, but still like that would have benefited the people, and she wanted to benefit her pocket.
It's not like in Turkey, where there's a law banning you from insulting the president or various senior officials, which is one of the charges facing İmamoğlu. Nonetheless, even if Le Pen's cries of lawfare look a bit suspect, it's at least true, and perhaps as important, that there does seem to be a growing perception of lawfare on the rise in Europe, especially on the right. It used to be more common to hear the left complaining about lawfare from the right, who could use expensive lawyers to suppress progressive criticism. But it now seems to be more common to hear the right appealing to the trope of lefty lawyers, apparently stymieing the will of the people. This seems to be a result of something we discuss in depth in our brand new Too Long magazine, which is the post-trust era.
They
in other words,
that a lot.
trust in judges and legal systems has been slowly eroding over the past decade or so.
I mean, listen, I don't blame them. They're trying to make money. If he has something to promote like that, I would put it in the videos too,
The point that lawyers, traditionally well-regarded trusted professionals, are now increasingly viewed as part of the liberal establishment, at least on parts of the right. This is precisely the kind of argument that anti-establishment figures like Le Pen want to take root, because it helps them portray themselves as outsiders who can be trusted.
When I look at her, I'm trying to see what she used the money. Did she buy this jacket? Did she get her hair done? What she used the money
this
for?
tactic will actually work, i.e. whether the French electorate will buy Le Pen's argument, remains to be seen. But either way, the decline of trust in institutions is generally bad news for European democracy generally. This story, like much of the
Can I see the comments?
Yeah, this was very the most interesting part, honestly, how corrupt the French government is. Like,
Yes.
god damn. What's 7 people I think
Mhm.
they're on the screen.
And I think that's partially why they don't trust anybody completely. They always do it themselves.
What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, when they didn't rely on the US for army
Oh,
support.
yeah, we did do that in the
Mhm.
video. Yeah, yeah. Maybe, yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, is it even more fun to consider, as Marine Le Pen herself said on live television, if you embezzle money or partake in backroom dealings, you should be barred from politics? Oh, yeah. Oh, oh. Hungary and Russia complaining about democracy is painfully ironic. Yeah. The irony of her conviction was that she previously called for permanent ban on individuals convicted of fraud or other crimes for participating in politics. I mean, that's what I would think. To me, permanent ban sounds reasonable. I mean, it's not like permanent prison. It's just permanent ban. Find another job. It's just, that sounds reasonable.
Wow.
Commits crimes, gets caught with evident cries. Yeah.
Oh, that's what this means?
No, I
Oh.
don't know. I don't know. What do you mean I can't ignore the law simply because I'm popular? Outrageous.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Wow, wow, wow, wow.
crazy.
Okay. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.